guys, it's Kathy here, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about what it means to be energy sensitive and what some of the top characteristics of that may be. There are a lot of people who have absolutely no clue that they're energy sensitive, but they've been struggling perhaps for most of their life because they didn't understand how the energy in the world around them actually impacts them. You see, we are energetic beings and we can be impacted by the emotions of others. We can be impacted by our personal environment, like our home. We can be impacted by the foods we eat. We can be impacted by the chemical products that we use. We can be impacted by electronics. There are so many different ways that we can be impacted. So who could be considered energy sensitive? This would be anybody who considers themselves an empath, a highly sensitive person. Those people who consider themselves light workers or energy healers or energy workers. Oftentimes those people who are highly creative are energy sensitive. I myself, actually you can see behind me, I'm in my office, and I do a lot of work in the arts. I am a music director for a local theater here in South Carolina, and I see a lot of energy sensitive people on the stage. When we're on stage as performers, it actually allows us to be able to tell how an audience is responding to us. And it allows us to give more or less or to do things a little differently according to how we feel the energy coming off the audience is. So I see it all the time with creative folks. And it's not just people who do theater, but it can be singers and dancers. It can be actual physical artists, people who paint and sculpt and draw. Anybody who's creative, even like creative writers. All of these people can be energy sensitive, all right? So what does it actually mean to be energy sensitive? Well, in a nutshell, there are two main characteristics of people who are energy sensitive. And now there is a very large spectrum of energy sensitivity. 15 to 20% of the population kind of falls in the area of the spectrum that is considered energy sensitive. Then there's another group in the middle who aren't really energy sensitive. They might have, normal levels of empathy and that type of thing. And they deal with things on a normal level. Their nervous system is functioning just a-okay. And then you get to the bottom of the scale, and that's where you start seeing a lot of kind of extreme mental illness. The people like the psychopaths and the sociopaths, and a little bit higher up, you have people who struggle with things like the bipolar disorder and narcissistic personality disorder and borderline personality disorder. And so they aren't dealing with things the way that those people who have normal energy sensitivity and high energy sensitivity do. So what it means to be energy sensitive, there are two characteristics of people who fall in the high level of the spectrum. The first is that our nervous systems are very, very sensitive. So basically, what that means is we feel things and respond to things differently because our bodies just respond to them differently than those people who are in the normal area of the spectrum. So very highly sensitive nervous system. The other thing, as you go to the high end of even the highly sensitive spectrum, where you fall into the people who are like the empaths, those people who have more extensive psychic abilities, who are extremely sensitive, and that's what, about 5 to 7 or 8% of the population. Those people have a large amount of what are known as mirror neurons. Mirror neurons are what allow us to feel empathy for what other people are going through. Those people who are empaths and the psychic folks, those people have a large amount of mirror neurons, and they can actually feel other people's emotions, and oftentimes it comes through as their own. And so that's what those people deal with. So we have nervous system and mirror neurons, and that's what makes highly sensitive people and energy sensitive people so sensitive. So what are some of the characteristics that some of the highly sensitive people deal with. Now, mind you, this is actually a short list. I have a very long list, and a lot of the videos that I'm going to be creating and the things that I'm going to be dealing with really delve into all of those characteristics. See, if you are if you are energy sensitive, there's nothing wrong with you. You are not flawed. You're not damaged. Nothing like that. You just were born in a way that's a little different. And the world does need the gifts that we bring as people who are energy sensitive. A lot of times you see those who are energy sensitive who tend to be helpers. They want to help others heal. And so there's a legitimate place. A lot of the therapists we see are energy sensitive. Many doctors and nurses, health coaches, and any kind of alternative healing practitioners tend to be energy sensitive. So some of the characters. Okay. One thing that is really common is that you can be easily startled and impacted by like loud noises, bright lights, scents, things like, even like the fabric that you wear and the clothing that you wear, you can be sensitive to that. I'm super sensitive to the feel of fabrics and clothing. For me, they have to be very, very soft. That's true with the sheets I use on my bed and the towels I use, all that kind of thing. So there's sensitivity to those external things like smells and light and noises. The next thing, you can get overstimulated very easily. If you find yourself listening to music or watching something on television and you just start feeling kind of like uncomfortable and you just feel like you really just need to like turn that off and sit in quiet for a while, you're getting overstimulated. You've hit what I call the overload threshold. And so you need to just shut down some of that external stimulation and decompress a little bit. One of the next ones, you can get energetically overwhelmed by large groups or being in like chaotic spaces. So for instance, I told you I work in theater and I see this with some of my energy sensitive kids. And a lot of those kids are also on the autism spectrum. A lot of the people who are on the spectrum are energy sensitive as well. And so I can tell if we've had a rehearsal where we've got 30 kids on stage and there's a lot of noise and a lot of lights going on and a lot of movement and all of that, that suddenly I see these kids who are just like, I can tell when they get overwhelmed, and typically I have them come and sit, or if I need to walk out with them while the other adults are working with the kids, if I need to bring them to a place that's a little quieter, I do that. So overstimulation is common. Oftentimes this can kind of manifest like if you go to a party and there are a lot of people and you're just you get to a point where you're like, okay, I'm done with this. And you start getting uncomfortable. You're just getting overstimulated by all of the stimulus, the external stimulus around you. Okay. Most people who are energy sensitive have a very strong intuition. There are times that you just know things. There's no rhyme and reason to it. And, you just know things. And perhaps people have told you that you're wise beyond your years, or you're an old soul, but there's a very strong intuition going on. That's definitely happened for me. Okay, the next one, and this is a big one. You can be an introvert or an extrovert. It doesn't matter, but you still need a lot of alone time where you can be quiet. It just takes us a while when we're energy sensitive to let go of all of that external stimulation that we've absorbed throughout the day. And so we need time, we need space to really just decompress. Okay. The next thing, and this is also a big thing, and something I've seen, there are a lot of energy sensitives who struggle with addiction. This is so common, and it's particularly common because there's so many people with energy sensitivity who have no idea how to manage it and how to release excess energy. And so, they they just want to stop feeling so overwhelmed and so exhausted and so emotional and all of that. And so a lot of times they turn to addictions to soothe. And this can be drugs and alcohol, but it can also be things like food. Obviously, overweight is a big thing. We'll be dealing with overweight and eating to cope with that a lot. So it could be food. It could be scrolling on social media. It could be shopping. There's anything that helps you to either distract yourself or to feel better can become an addiction. And if it's an unhealthy pattern, then that can be a problem. So addiction is very, very common. And so I really want to help to give you some tips and tricks, once you recognize and understand more about who you are, to help you manage that so that you get out of the patterns of addiction. And it's something I'm working on in my own life right now. So addiction. Okay. Another thing that goes along with this, because we hold on to so much energy and we don't know how to release, stress is chronic for most people who are energy sensitive. And the result of that is there are these nagging health issues that come in, digestive issues. A lot of people, especially the empaths, can feel body pain, aches and pains. Lower back pains are really common. All kinds of hormone imbalances are really common. And then what is known by many as adrenal fatigue, which I actually know from a functional standpoint, is actually what's called HPA axis dysfunction. It's the hypothalamus, pituitary, and the adrenals that can get out of balance as a result of holding on to that energy, which causes the chronic stress. I'm going to teach you more about how you can start overcoming that. So, and kind of chill your nervous system out a little bit and let go of the energy you've been holding on to so you can function better and that your body can start healing. And that's really important. You can be easily distracted or bored. By the way, energy sensitivity and things like ADHD go hand in hand oftentimes. And so we get very distracted. We're taking in so much external information that it's easy for us to feel a little scatterbrained. And in fact, you might have been told that you're scatterbrained from time to time. At the same time, we can also be very good organizers because we tend to look at we tend to like things that are organized, and it's better for us to be organized, and we see so many things that other people don't see. So it can be easier for us to to be better organized. So we're just an enigma, y'all. Okay. Another big thing, and this has definitely been true for me, is you don't like watching negative or violent programming. And this is really true. I've seen a lot of my really sensitive friends kind of drop away from social media in the past few months. And, things have been more tense on social media. I'm one who I'm really picky about the things that I personally watch. Even sometimes dramas can be overwhelming. If I'm a little overstimulated, it can be overwhelming for me. So definitely I'm not into horror movies or anything that promotes violence or that kind of thing. Just overwhelming. And then the other big thing is, because we're carrying around so much energy so often, it's easy for us to feel fatigued a lot. And so I'm going to be talking a whole lot more, and there's going to be all different categories of things that you can do, to prioritize self-care and to do self-care in the right way for you. This world was not designed for those of us who are energy sensitive. It just wasn't. And so it can be overwhelming. Most job places are not designed for us, especially if you have floors full of cubicles with all kinds of people and all kinds of noise and so on and so forth. So, it's my job to help you learn more about what you're dealing with and who you are, so that you can live in an optimal way for you, and to know and to recognize when you are feeling overwhelmed, so that you can get to a place where you can release that, let it go, and feel better. I am your energy wellness coach, and I want to show you how to really live your best life. There's no reason why you should be living in the struggle all the time and constantly feeling crappy. And there are things that you can do to lessen the energetic burden so that you can feel good. You are here for a purpose, my friends, and whether you're a sensitive soul or not, it doesn't matter. We need you in this world right now. So it's my job to help you learn how to be the healthiest you possible so that you can share the gifts that you were born with. All right, guys, I look forward to seeing you soon. We've got lots more to cover. Have a great and wonderful day. Be sure that you take some time for you. Just breathe and allow yourself to be still and quiet today. Bye.